Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys and gals a little bit about something that needs to be said, and that is doing pistol squats and hopping around on one leg and squatting on Bosu balls is not functional strength. This is complete make-believe nonsense that will not make you stronger. These are circus tricks that are mostly about balance, right? Performing a balancing act has nothing to do with building strength. And we need to be clear. If you are looking for a leg strength that's going to be functional, like when you're standing in a normal plane, okay? Because that's what they're doing. They're not having you pivot on one leg, not doing any of that stuff where you need the most power to do it isolaterally. Because if you do, then a pistol squat's not going to do it, and a Bosu ball is definitely not going to do it. But if you're standing in a normal plane, a plain old back squat, getting really strong at a back squat is the best thing you can possibly do. Okay, we need to be clear on that. Deadlifts are right up there also. Why? Because you are training your body to move extremely heavy weights with your body centered, right? Learning to brace yourself and use your entire body to move serious weights. Okay, serious weights. We're no longer playing. This is not a game. It's not silly nonsense. Okay, and it will never compete. It will absolutely never compete. No amount of squatting on a Bosu ball or even pistol squats will ever give you the functional leg strength in the real world that getting your back squat up to 500 pounds will do, or getting your deadlift up to 550. Okay? Now, if we want to argue about certain other aspects of it, okay, you can do other stuff to develop that ability to pivot on one leg, but it needs to be heavy. Not a balancing act like a pistol squat. That is not going to give you the strength carryover, because loading is limited by your balance, not by your quad strength, your glute strength, or your adductor strength. So people are like, well, what if I need to learn to pivot on one leg? Sumo pulls, wide stance box squats, isolateral real loaded leg work. How about a Bulgarian split squat? Okay, right? Loaded isolateral work. Split squat, perfect with a barbell. Okay, get a barbell up on your back, or get one dumbbell and then hold it forward. Do a split squat that way. You'll develop that. Or that wide stance box squat. That will do it. Why? Because it teaches us to pivot on one leg. Okay? It teaches us to also load that weight independently. So again, the wide stance squat will do the same thing. It will build on a box. It will build that power. But you don't even need that to start. Just get really strong at back squats. And again, this is nonsense that some of these goofball trainers have come up with to keep people weak. It's not based on reality. It's not going to work. It's not going to make you better at sports. Not going to give you the strength in the real world. And it's so strange that people have come up with this instead of saying, hey, how about we just really load big, heavy structural exercises that require you to move your body against extreme resistances. Okay? Because what is strength? Strength is the ability to produce force. Strength is the ability to produce force against an external object. Well, how do we learn to produce force? By moving really monstrous loads. Like, that's force, right? Grinding through a 500-pound squat. Like right here, this is a 500-pound box squat. Box squats are harder than back squats. Okay? Right? This is force production. This is a display of force production. A Bosu ball squat is not. It's a minor balancing act. And people say, well, don't you need balance? Are you telling me that's not going to balance you? Put 500 pounds on your back and drop your hips all the way below your knees and stand back up. And tell me this doesn't build all the stabilizers in your body. Of course it does. And I'm not saying there aren't more advanced things we can do. I'm not saying stuff like some speed boxes with chains and bands and some of this other power work won't further help some of those things. But as a novice, you don't need to just get really strong at the squat. Get really strong at a deadlift. Get really strong at the big structural exercises. And then if you need other stuff, that's when we mess with those other things. Okay, so we start messing with sumo speed pulls or against bands or chains, wide stance box squats against bands or chains, weighted one-legged exercises, but not balancing acts. You want ones where you actually have to develop force from that pivot position where you would have to pivot on your foot out on a playing field or a fight. That's what you're looking for. But the base strength for that is still going to come from the big lifts. Those smaller movements are then refinement to refine what you already have. Doing a decent amount of volume with heavy weight on a normal back squat will handle most of that. Or even just a little bit and just hypertrophy your legs with the other movements, right? If someone doesn't even have machines, they just have a smaller gym, man, do some heavy squats and then blow your quads and glutes up using some split squats with your barbell. Okay, that will get you there. Absolutely get you there. But this idea people have, oh, we just need to train this little bit of balance stuff, but there's no resistance, right? You're limiting loading with this unstable environment. And we already get enough instability on a barbell. Like we don't need to make it any more extreme. That's already good enough. And that will give you what you need for stability. That will give you that strength carryover in the real world. It will give you those things. It's already there. Okay? We don't need this other stuff. And in fact, I would argue it's counterproductive because it takes training time and recovery away from really effective training. Okay, these are excuses that lazy people use to stay small and weak. It's excuses coaches use to do something trendy to get people away from the basics, and then people never build a base. And I'm not saying advanced stuff doesn't have its place. I program plenty of it. I coach plenty of it. Advanced techniques for advanced lifters who can already squat 500 pounds. Okay, see where we're going with this? Advanced lifters who can already squat 500 pounds if they need some more explosiveness or more function or speed, strength, or ability to pivot. Okay, cool, let's work on this other stuff. But this stuff that these people teach as functional training is still not going to do it. It is going to leave your people weak. It is going to leave your clients small and weak. You are doing them a disservice. You're doing them a disservice. And the people who are training that way, you are being lazy and you're keeping yourself intentionally weak because you're scared to move a big weight. And you don't need to be scared of it. It's nothing scary. You learn how to do it correctly, learn to load it correctly, and you do it. And if you don't want to, then that's fine, but don't claim that you are training for functional strength. No, you're training for lazy strength. You're training to be lazy and weak. It doesn't work. This stuff will never work. The guys I see who stand around trying to do pistol squats are all have weak lower bodies, small legs, no power. Okay? It's a circus trick. Your limiting factor is balance, not muscular tension. Therefore, it cannot get the job done. All right? And like I said, the same thing with these other things, all these balancing on Bosu balls or any of that stability training. It's nonsense. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.